could have your attention, I'd like to call this meeting of the County Commissioners to order. If we could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we could remain standing for just a moment, I'd like to have a moment of silence. I'm Mr. James C. Yeager, Jr., 25 of Galena, 2018 graduate of Kent County High School, suddenly passed away. If we could keep him and his family in our prayers, and as well as all the flooding and disasters that's going on in Texas and all across this country. Thank you very much. First of all, we have a list of consent items. And for those that are not familiar with that, these are things that we have discussed in the past and just needs a motion to approve them. We have our regular session minutes dated July the 8th, 2025. We have our liquor minutes dated July the 8th, 2025. We have our closed session minutes dated July 8th, 2025. We have an administrative correction that was made with Human Resources. We have signed through the Kent County Sheriff's Office an FY 2026 Sex Offender Compliance and Enforcement in Maryland Grant Program. Public Works, under Public Works, we have a memorandum of understanding with Central Services for janitorial services. And we have under the Roads Division, we have a change order and a budget adjustment for materials donated to Emergency Medical Services Construction. Gentlemen, you have any questions?
No, sir.
Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve all 7 of the consent items as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit because there's only one outside agency that's here, Mr. Peter J. Sweetser and Katie Mulligan, Waddell. If you want to come up, we'll take you next, and then you won't have to sit through all the boring part.
Oh, it's the good stuff. What do you mean boring? Twice a week, girl.
Thank you very much for having us here. Mr. President, Commissioner Nickerson, Commissioner Price, as I know you know, 4 years ago I approached the then town manager and asked him whether I could get permission to have a celebration for Vietnam Veterans Day out at Memorial Park. And he said yes, that I had to apply for a permit to use the park and the street, which I did. And as I was leaving, he said to me, you should know that you probably won't get much of a crowd. We never do at the Veterans Day events. So that's what I started with. As I know you all know, I'm relatively new in town. I just got here about 10 years ago. I didn't really know anybody. I certainly didn't know any of the veterans organizations. So I just reached out and found people who knew people and asked, and we ended up. And for the record, as you know, in that first event, 4 years ago, this past March 29th, 340 people showed up, along with 93 Vietnam veterans, all by definition in their 70s and 80s. Some in wheelchairs, walkers, barely able to get up, nevertheless stood tall and saluted and received recognition for being the Veterans Day. Since then, with that background, we've had 3 more. And again, I know you know because the 3 of you were there for all of those. The reason I mention this on the record is that there is a large group of veterans in Kent County, in our small but dedicated county. In fact, as you know from your own experience, we actually have 7 veterans organizations in Kent County. The reason that we are here today, Katie and I, is to ask you as the governing body of the county to find, encourage, stimulate in whatever way you are allowed to and are willing to cause one or all of those veterans organizations to gather together and to take responsibility for running Veterans Day events in Kent County. Whether it continues to be here in the county seat or one of the other towns in the county, there's all opportunities, all options that could be on the table if there was a group of people who would take on the task that frankly that I have done for the last 4 years with the support of a number of these organizations, but without their full commitment. I did get, of course, the support the last 2 years from the county with your generosity, and I did with the town as well. I know what it cost to put together these Vietnam Veterans event, and it's just a little over $2,000. First 2 years, I funded that money myself. The second 2 years, you and the town were the principal funders of that. From here on in, I believe that with 4 years of record where there were no less than 150 people outside with still at the end, we've had a total of a little over 200 Vietnam veterans step forward for the first time and receive their PIN. I believe that this town has enough veteran experience and ought to, as a civic organization that we have in our town, that those veterans organizations should run this particular event and the others, which Katie will talk about in a second, and not leave it to individuals to carry the weight of that effort. With that, I'll defer to my associate and friend, Katie Waddell.
So I took over the Memorial Day Parade. It became skeletal, and that's a nice way of putting it. But I agree, and I think it's not hard to come to the conclusion that these events should be considered civic. It was completely 100% volunteer for the Memorial Day Parade. It has lost a lot of interest. It fell under the cast of the Tea Party. A lot of people didn't know that we've always had a Memorial Day Parade, and historically what happened was it was falling under the, one person was taking care of it. They would rotate through the American Legions. As we know, everyone's getting older and losing interest. Mark Mumford grabbed it, took care of it, called some friends, got the volunteer fire departments to come, and it at least continued.
I could just tell you from just personal knowledge, when it started, it was the Knights of Columbus,
Yes,
the American Legion, and the Elks.
yes.
And all three of those organizations participated, and then they rotated. So every third year, the Knights of Columbus would be in charge of it, every third year, the Legion, and every third year, the Elks.
That's right.
And I think what happened over the years is the Knights of Columbus lost members, and so did the Legion, and they weren't able to keep up.
That's exactly right. And there was a member of the Knights of Columbus who fell ill, and Mark got a call, and it wasn't going to occur, so he jumped in and made sure it continued. So what I tried to throw some energy behind it and made some calls and threw out some bulletins and got a lot of great response. If you didn't come to the parade or didn't read the newspaper this year, it was very well attended. There was great participation. It was cross-county. We had 4-H. We had Kent County High School Impact Club. We've had the Scouts. We've had 2 bands. All the volunteer fire departments were there. American Legions were there. We had volunteers from River Arts. We had River Voices singing. Betsy Beal sang. Butch Clark did the microphones and the podium. Sumner Hall researched the fallen veterans, and they brought the guest speaker. All we had to do was ask. And everyone volunteered their time, their efforts, their money towards bringing their antique cars, their floats, and it was very, very well received. And I don't think anybody walked away Memorial Day from the parade and the event without feeling pride. So what I'd like to say is the Tea Party is a really great event, and it should happen, and it's wonderful for the tourists. The Memorial Day Parade is very good for our local citizens to get a chance to thank our veterans and for our local veterans to hear that. So I'm eager, as well as Peter, to make sure it continues. And our concern is when it falls under the leadership of only one individual, that's not guaranteed. That's not sustainable. So we are approaching you to help create a solution that will make sure that some entity or multiple entities, as it was in the past, make sure and secures the continuation of these events.
I want to ask him to hand out.
You want this handout?
No, I thought you were going to hand these.
They
out.
have them.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Okay, I beg your pardon.
You already told me to do it, so I
Well-
did it.
As to, don't often get that reaction.
I know. You didn't know my father.
We are not asking for a decision from the three of you tonight. What we are asking is for you to give serious consideration as the governing body of our county to secure the future of these two events. We don't even have a Veterans Day event, which, by the way, in some places like New York City, is one of their biggest parades of the year. We don't have one, but we should. By encouraging particularly the veterans organizations that you have listed in front of you, to run these for the future. There's lots of, as I said earlier, there's lots of formats, there's lots of experience with some people. Of course, I can tell you, I tried to get some of these organizations to take responsibility of it. And as you may know, including threatening this past year that I wasn't going to do it, that I expected them to step up. I did not get a response that was going to ensure, so I did it again. But I have to say to you, it is truly the last time, because if 6 veterans organizations in a county of 20,000 people can't find the will and the effort and the energy to lead veterans organizations, then I frankly feel I've done my part.
Well, I don't think anybody would argue with that, because you certainly have for the last 4 years anyhow. So we hear you loud and clear, and I think we'll all take a look at seeing what we could do to do exactly what you've asked, is to get some groups that would agree to move forward and maintain the parade and the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Now, obviously, we can't promise you anything but I can promise you that we will try. We will reach out to these groups that you've highlighted on this paper and see if we can get some commitments. And if we are able to secure that, you'll get a call from us letting you know that we've taken care of that.
Well, we can ask no more of that, Katie, and I'm sure we'll agree. Katie and I will have also.
And I spoke out of turn probably, but I think I'm speaking for my colleagues as well when I say that. If you want to add something to it, John, or.
We could say the same thing that he just said.
Exactly. I also noticed on here that you have economic and tourism as maybe someone that could reach out to these different organizations to coordinate some form of a committee. Shelley, you would know better than I. Is that something that you think Jamie's team could undertake?
Absolutely.
and help coordinate and maybe kind of, because to me, it is part of tourism, even though, and I feel very strongly, and I know my colleagues do too, that these veterans need to be recognized yearly, annually, every chance that we get. And it would be a shame to lose these kind of events honoring their services. So I'd like to make a motion that we ask Shelley to speak with Jamie Williams about this and see if she could coordinate some type of outreach to the Chestertown American Legion, the Betterton American Legion, the Rock Hall American Legion, the VFW, Sumner Hall, and the Daughters of American Revolution, to see if they could form a committee that would provide oversight for this event.
And I would just add that, put the Elks Lodge on there because I know they've participated in a lot of these as well. So that they're another good group that we could call on.
And I'd suggest the Knights of Columbus, because we were heavily involved in it years ago.
Does that still exist?
Yes,
Locally?
it does. It's based in Galena now,
Okay.
but yes. We
But you're
kind of revived.
But you're
it.
absolutely right in that those two events, in my opinion, and my colleagues as well, we think that they should continue.
And now they have momentum.
Excuse me?
Now there's momentum. We
Now.
don't want to lose it.
Absolutely.
We don't want to lose it.
No. And I appreciate you bringing it to our attention and letting us know what your plans are so that we've got a year now almost to prepare for it.
Thank you very much. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
So
Thank
do-
you.
Do we have Katie and Peter's contact information?
I'm sure I have Katie's. And I.
If not, they're not hard to find.
Yes, we're good.
And maybe Jamie can communicate her findings
Right.
Thank you.
to both of you folks.
You better second that motion. I second the motion.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you
Thank you
very much.
gentlemen.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate it.
We appreciate you. Now we will move up again and get back on our agenda. We got a legislative session protocol. We got to turn this over to Tom,
Thank you.
our attorney.
Thank you, Mr. President. You have 3 items for legislative session this evening. The first is for a third reading. The second and the third are for introduction and first reading. With respect to the item that you have for third reading, when you go into legislative session, you can pass the legislation as currently written, you can reject it, or you can pass it with amendments. And I would note that staff has prepared some amendments which are essentially technical clarifications, and I believe Mr. Mackey could shed some light on that. So I just want you to know that I think the staff recommendation will be to pass it as amended. And this would be adopting the new land use ordinance and the zoning map. You also did receive written comments, and we will note that those written comments will be made part of the record. Those were received after the public hearing. The other 2 items are for introduction. So the first would be the new public ethics law, and that's required because of a state mandate. The state legislature has revised the state ethics law, and the local ethics law has to mirror the state law, so therefore the local law has to be revised. And the third item would be CHR 6/2025, Administration of Government, and that deals with adjustment of salaries for the next Board of County Commissioners. And I do note there was a typo in the agenda packet where I believe there was a reference to clean energy legislation or clean energy loan program. That appears to be a typographical error on here. I think that should have said Administration of Government. Doesn't affect anything substantive.
Mine does.
Does yours say Administration of Government?
When did you print it? Is it possible it was updated? Oh, this is, I got it, okay.
They just did that to you, see if you were on the ball, Tom.
See if I actually
It was a
read
test.
these things.
Did it to your
It was a test.
comment.
So, no update to the agenda.
So with that, you should entertain a motion to go into legislative session.
Bill, before we do, Bill, how many years has it taken that we've been working on this?
About 5.5. We started on January.
So if any one of us up here votes against it, it's gonna be an argument, I can tell you. We're hoping to get this over and behind us. So, and if we have no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to go into legislative session.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to go into legislative session. And then,
You're going to first take up CHR
all in
4
favor, say aye.
2025.
Aye. All opposed, the ayes have it. We are in legislative session.
So you will first take up CHR 4 2025, and again, you can pass it, reject it, or pass it with amendments.
Good evening. I appreciate that question. It has been quite a process.
Yeah.
Pretty excited about tonight. So we do have a very short series of technical amendments. They're in your package. That reflects Carla's really long and hard work negotiating with Critical Area Commission to get things just to the point that they are willing to accept them and the things that we can add to our program that's acceptable for the county. So those are the only amendments. There were some minor corrections in working through it, found a cut and paste, a copy and paste error or some misspelling. So those things have been fixed. But the exhibit is in the form that will be the final law. So, and we're here to answer any questions you might have.
Gentlemen, questions? Anyone? We have no questions.
Okay.
Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the written amendment to Exhibit A, followed by the adoption of Code Home Rule Bill 4-2025.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. We have adopted.
One more thing, Bill, do they need to do a separate motion to adopt the zoning map, or is the zoning map part of that?
It's Exhibit B.
Okay, so we're all set then.
All right? Thank you, gentlemen,
Thank you.
very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
The next two items are for introduction, first reading, so you would not be voting to pass them tonight. If you want to go forward, you would just be moving to set them in motion and to direct the clerk to schedule them for public hearing.
And take them one at a time.
Yes.
And we have Code Home Rule 5-2025 entitled Ethics. It's the introduction and first reading. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to move forward with a public hearing on CHR Bill 5-2025, Ethics Law, Chapter 29.
I got a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Next up, we have Code Home Rule Bill 6-2025 entitled Administration of Government, Introduction and First Reading. Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to introduce Code Home Rule Bill 6-2025 for a public hearing to be scheduled.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. That's it.
Now you'll entertain a motion to go out of.
Go back into open
Motion
session.
to go back into open session.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to go back into open session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. We are back in open session. Next up, we have Kent County Sheriff's Office Intergovernmental Agreement.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
So what we have in front of you this evening is an agreement between the Queen Anne's County Detention Center, referred to as a housing facility, and the Kent County Detention Center, known as the sending facility. The purpose of this agreement is to establish the terms and responsibilities under which the housing facility will house offenders from the sending facility on a long-term basis. This particular agreement has been vetted by both the county attorney and county administrators in both Kent and Queen Anne's. And the warden from Queen Anne's County and the county administrator from Queen Anne's has already signed the document, and it's before you to be signed this evening.
So do I have to put that in the form of a motion?
Yes.
Is there any questions? Then I'll entertain a motion.
So I do have one question real quick. So this is going to help alleviate some of the staffing issues by being able to move some of these.
Yeah,
Any
actually,
incarcerated
the numbers, and I don't know the exact numbers right now, but I can tell you what they were at the beginning of the week.
I saw the
They were up,
report.
yeah, they were up pretty high, kind of a little unprecedented. And this will help alleviate the number of inmates that they have inside the facility, so it'll help with the size of the workforce that we have here at the Kent County Detention Center.
And there's no, correct me if I'm wrong, Sheriff Hickman, but there's no requirement that we send any minimum number of inmates to Queen Anne's County. This is something, if we need to send, we have an agreement that covers that and they would accept, but we're not required to send them any specific number of inmates.
No.
We could send them as many or as few as we want, depending on what
Yeah,
capacity
we
they
have
have to
budgetary
receive.
constraints, but yes, yeah. We could, budgetarily, we only have, so many that we could send. So it wouldn't be, certainly wouldn't be everyone, but it would be a portion that would help alleviate with the number of people they have inside and the workforce that we have at the detention center.
Any questions?
I got a question. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
For me, I think, I understand what the county's doing, but respectfully, in moving these eyes to another jail, doesn't alleviate, doesn't help with the daily operations. The daily operations is the main thing that's a staffing issue. It's not the incarcerated. I understand the county's moving in a different direction as far as detention center. I understand that. But I just, I'm sitting here and I'm trying to, understand the reason. I know you're gonna vote and, that's fine, we'll do what we gotta do because we're all professionals. But it's just for me, and this is nothing to do with Dennis. This is just, what I'm hearing from my people at the detention center is that we feel like we're kind of left out of the loop. Because a lot of these things, when you move, a brief summary, when you move these inmates to another facility, what we have to do then is add two more people to our transportation team to handle those court dates. Those court dates don't go away. We still have to handle that. And we said, and I've said that we're short-staffed in that area, mainly in the areas where you're adding on more work for a depleted force. So moving those IIs out doesn't really settle in that. It adds more of a problem to it. And I had to say this because I'm the type of person where if I don't agree with something, I have to say it. And that's just how I feel. And that's how everybody in my detention center feels. I understand what we're doing. We're going to do it. We'll make it work. But we just need to have our voices heard too. And I think that's one thing that's been missing in this whole thing. And that's nothing against Sheriff Hickman. He's been doing a tremendous job. But people who know about corrections aren't making correction decisions. And I think that's the issue that we're having. We can make this work if we were brought to the table. That's our only issue, is that if you're going to move these people, have us in there to when you make these decisions involving corrections, and you never worked in corrections, it's like we have to go in and fix those problems and make those problems work with the people that we have. And we've down 5 officers. We just had one leave last week. That was our pretrial officer. So, there's a lot of things coming at us that we got to fix on the fly because we're not really involved in these major decisions that involve the detention center. That's my piece. I'm not here to deter anything. Like I said, whatever you guys decide we're going to do, we're going to make it work because that's what we do. But I just think we need to have that heard and on record. That's all.
And as we know, this obviously didn't come to an easy decision. We certainly have been starting to talk about this, actually, as an organization long before I ever signed on to this, but, certainly we started talking about this back in May. And, it's not an easy change, it's not necessarily easy, it's not, and we have some uncertainties as to exactly how things are going to work. And we certainly have had conversations on how we're going to do things, but we don't know exactly all that it's going to entail. So one of the things that I put together in the last weekly report was we're going to evaluate our staffing levels and see where we are and see how things are going. There might be some things that we don't really realize is going to happen, and yes, there's certainly, we're not corrections, we haven't been in corrections for years, but we know that there's some budgetary concerns, and, I think it's worth a try, to try something, you know what I mean? And I think something's got to change in some way, shape, or form, understanding the budgetary constraints of everyone, really. So we might, Corey and I might come back here within 2 months and say, we got a problem. This isn't working. We need to do something else. And we'll have a little bit more educated understanding of exactly what's happening. Or we might be able to come back here and say, hey, things are much better than we expected. So we really just don't know exactly how things are going to go, but I think it's, worth a try. We didn't want to, hire more people, so we're trying to, alleviate it in this way, shape, or form, so.
Well, this has been talked about a lot longer than just May. I think we've talked about it.
It's been over a year now.
Been over a year. And the reason why this came up, I personally, I think Ronnie's been out there and actually spoken to the employees to try to explain why the county's looking at this. Until this past week, your incarcerated individual population has been relatively small for a building that was, or a detention center that was built probably to house 70 or so inmates years ago. No fault of yours, no fault of the police. It's just the way the new criminal justice system is working. And when we look at the detention center budget, and it's $4.2 million to take care of historically, usually weekly, 28 inmates, maybe up to 32 or 35, that's a lot of money to be taking care of just so few people. And we all want our staff to be safe. We all want the inmates treated properly. And with the talk of a regional jail, and I don't know that the regional jail is ever going to happen. Our state is broke. I think we have pretty much made a decision here, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but we want to maintain the current facility with our employees intact. But in order to do that without spending a lot more money, see, every time you hire somebody, you've got fringe benefits and you got salary, and that's $100,000 per person. So I think the total count is up to 6 now. So we have reduced that expenditure item when it comes to the employees by probably around $600,000. And it's going to save the county money in the long run. Someday, if the laws in the great state of Maryland change to the way they used to be, our detention facility is still going to be there. We're still going to maintain it. We're still going to operate it at this current time. But we need to find a way to save money. And by not replacing employees was one way that we felt that we could maybe do that without jeopardizing safety of everybody working there. And I appreciate what you've said, Corey, but it appears to me that since, and I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but it probably needs to be said, it appears to me And I think it appears to one or two of the other commissioners that since this has been talked about, there seems to have been some pushback. And I can appreciate that. Some resistance, I guess is a better word. But these are decisions that sometimes the commissioners have to make, and they're tough decisions. We have guaranteed that we're not seeing anyone lose their pension, lose their jobs. We are all three committed to that. But this is taxpayer money. And if we don't find a better way to try to save money, with all these other things on our plate, the only option we have is to raise real estate taxes, and that's not an option for me. So without jeopardizing service, without jeopardizing safety, this is something that we think we need to try, and hopefully it's going to have a good return for us. And hey, if I'm wrong, if we're wrong, I'll be the first to admit it.
Can I address the pushback thing?
Yeah, sure you can.
I don't think it was pushback from us. I think it was like, we just didn't know what was going on. I think when you have like other counties calling us or talking to my officer saying, when are you guys closing? You're gonna get a lot of, they're gonna come to me with questions and I have no answers for it.
Understandable.
You know what I mean? So I think if that's part of the pushback, I think it was just of not knowing what their future held. And I couldn't, as a leader of in the facility, I couldn't tell them, this is what's going on, this is what's gonna happen, this is the game plan for 5 years out. This is what the county wants to do. That way, everybody has a clear understanding, a common goal, and we can all push forward for that goal. But if you're not informed, then it's like, what can you really do? And so I can't go back and tell them, and I'm not gonna lie to them,
And we're not gonna lie to you either.
Right, I'm a straightforward type of
I mean,
person. Yeah.
I personally had came out there and told, exactly when you had your staff meeting and actually spoke to them. I think we had a walkthrough or a meeting there with the commissioners so that we could address the group. And nothing's changed. All three of us were totally honest with you at that point. Now, I can't help what some other jurisdiction picks up the phone, or some former employee picks up the phone and calls their friends and say, hey, I've heard this on the street.
I mean, this is coming from.
But this is not on the street. This is in a formal meeting. And maybe pushback was a bad word, or resistance, but it looks that way sometimes. And we should all be working together for the betterment of our citizens here in the county.
Yeah, I agree with that part. I definitely agree with that. We all need to be working together.
But please let your staff know that no one's job is in jeopardy. No one's benefits or pension are in jeopardy.
Okay.
And you got a great sheriff that's going to help you oversee this.
I just want to echo the comments that, number one, since I've been here, the corrections department, I think at the beginning, there was some, I thought we probably should have talked to you guys a little bit earlier, but I thought since then, we've been as transparent as we can be, with the exception of having to have closed sessions to do some stuff. To my knowledge, there's been no, and I haven't talked to any other warden, but there's been no talk of, we've talked about this regional facility, and I think that regional facility may be, anyhow, I'm not.
I know what you're saying.
But it seemed like the direction to go at one time, and I'm not saying it's not now, but it just, I'm not real sure about that regional facility. But I do agree that my intention, when we were discussing this and farming out or subbing out some of these inmates was to alleviate some of the staffing issues. I mean, that's my intention, is to, again, like the sheriff said, save money wherever we can, without you guys and gals. We certainly don't want you to be in an environment that's unsafe. I mean, that's not at all what we're trying to do. We're trying to alleviate that by doing this. And I agree with Dennis and, I mean, you guys come to us in 2 months and say, hey, this just isn't working, then we're going to have to get back to the drawing board and we'll have to try to figure out something. I mean, I think that, $4.2 million it's a lot of money to me. I mean, it's a lot of money to everybody, and I appreciate that. I think part of it, we had a meeting today with the school board. I think part of it is just the economies of scale. Probably doesn't help us in corrections like it doesn't in the school system here. But we do have a lot of things facing us in this county, a lot of capital expenses facing us. And, I mean, we don't know where we're going to, we don't have a clue where the money's going to come from. So we're trying to figure out, I think, ways that we can not save money, not necessarily cut money, but save money. And that's where my intention is coming from on this.
So with that, I think this is one of the questions that I think I was asked a lot about is, if we're trying to save money, why would we then send money to another county?
Because the way we figure it, it's cheaper to send them, these inmates, per diem than it is to house them in our own facility.
Okay. Yeah, those are
According to our math, it's cheaper for them to be
housed in other facilities.
housed in other facilities.
And I think that was the biggest thing, is just a conversation to, so we know exactly what's going
Okay.
on. We don't have to know every single thing. but-
Yeah, I understand. I
But
mean,
some kind of direction, like what we're doing, that way I can talk to them and say, this is what we're doing, this is what we're gonna do, and get our game plan together and get it done,
Right.
But not knowing is the hard part of it, so.
Right.
But I appreciate that.
Any other questions, comments? Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement with Queen Anne's County Detention Center as presented.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Aye. I just, every once in a while, we have a split decision up here, and this happens to be one of them. I may be the one that says I was wrong, or not, but just a few unanswered questions, too many unanswered questions that I don't clearly see yet, and for that, I don't support this issue. But the majority of the board move forward, and that's the direction we'll go. And I do agree that if we run into problems along the way, you need to bring them back, and we'll discuss it and see if we can make some changes. Seems fair enough. All right? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Mr. Dan Mattson. Request for a public hearing to amend the 2018 County Water and Sewer Comprehensive Plan.
Yes. So this is for the Millington wastewater treatment plant. And we are going through the formal amendment process of the comprehensive water and sewer plan. Our amendment draft was submitted May 25th to MDE. We received comments from March 25th. We received comments May 27th. Made a resubmission responding to those comments on June 23rd. And we recently received a recommendation from MDE to proceed with adoption of a resolution amending the plan. Before we can proceed with that resolution, there needs to be a public hearing held. And again, this is an amendment to incorporate the new proposed wastewater treatment plant. So we need to have a public hearing. I'm requesting approval to advertise for that required public hearing. We would place a notice, if approved, we would place a notice for this hearing on the agenda for next meeting on the 22nd. and we would run ads in the paper on July 24th and 31st. We intend for the hearing to be held on August 5th, and pending the results of that hearing, potentially approve the resolution on that day. So this is a required step in the process to amend the plan, which is required as part of the wastewater treatment project, and I'm seeking approval to make those public notices for a hearing on August 5th.
What's the plan you're talking, is that to expand the service area?
Yes, it would incorporate, because the comprehensive water and sewer plan right now is based on the existing plant in Millington. So we would need to update sections of it to reflect the new plant outside of the town limits of Millington, and also define, the potential service areas coming off of that.
But I know there's an issue where there's potentially supposed to be a couple distribution centers
Yes.
projects take place, and they were not in the service area completely?
Correct. That is not part of this amendment, which was originally submitted back in March. We had met with them a few times around that time period, and it was mutually agreed that pushing forward with two specific amendments would be a better process than trying to incorporate both into one. If there was an issue on our side, it could hold them up, or vice versa. So there are several amendments in the process with MDE right now. This one would specifically be for the plant itself.
For the plant?
Yes.
But are we making headway on the other areas, or am I not understanding?
Two separate issues. We are working through the issue on the other one. I've been in conversation with MDE over the past couple weeks in an attempt to give an administrative amendment as opposed to the formal amendment process for that project. Last week, I received an email from MDE indicating that they would recommend that proceed with the formal amendment process as well. There are other avenues we can go down to provide that development the assurance they need. But it was agreed by all parties at the time the amendment was submitted that we would handle them as separate cases, so one wouldn't hold the other up.
Okay, now, will we have to, there's a more area that's going to be serviced eventually. At
Yes.
this point. Should we be doing all of that at the same time?
That should follow, but we didn't want to tie ourselves into any corners or to hold up the actual wastewater treatment plant approval by talking about the maps.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, but we're working on both of
Yes,
them.
yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Dan, at one time, we had talked about unused allocations up there
Yes.
and maybe taking those back.
Mhm.
Would that help alleviate some of the red tape here to get things moving?
No, it wouldn't. For the specific project Commissioner Fithian mentioned, there are allocations available for it under the existing plant. It's a matter of redrawing the maps. So we are pursuing that. I've been talking to Tom about the recaptures, and you need to be 85% capacity with that, which the projects we have in front of us would push us over. And we're going to begin that process for recapture, but it's a separate issue from the comprehensive plan amendments.
But was it MDE that recommended we take these separate?
It was with conversation with MDE as well as the engineers from the different projects.
I got you. Any other questions, John? I'm entertaining a motion.
I'll make a motion that we allow Dan to proceed with the public hearing process to amend the Kent County Comprehensive Water and Sewage Plan.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Okay.
And Dan's finished, but I'm asking him to stay for one of my items.
For,
One of my items.
oh, okay, good. I thought it was something else I was going to add. I don't think it was. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, County Administrator's report.
Okay, thank you very much. I have 3 items to report for you today. The first is the mental health. It's really a grant from Midshore Behavioral Health that we get every year. It's in the amount this year of $57,826. It does vary a little bit from year to year, but Midshore Behavioral Health helps us pay for our mental health contract at the detention center, and that was signed by President Fithian on July 2nd, 2025. The second item I have for you is an item that needed to be signed for Enterprise Fleet Management. This is an agreement to sell some of our vehicles at auction. And this was signed on July 8th, 2025. And in the meantime, Dan, take it away.
So on the topic Shelley was just mentioning, we have 13 vehicles in my lot that'll begin to go to Enterprise for auction starting tomorrow. They're going to be picking up some vehicles, so we should be selling off a lot of the trade-ins from last year very soon. But I did want to speak for a minute about Enterprise and FY26 vehicle orders. General Motors this year is restricting orders of Chevy Tahoes. We have currently 6 orders scheduled for FY26, and General Motors is limiting the pool of customers, basically, that can place orders for Tahoes, as opposed to simply anyone not selected by them would have to just buy them off of lots. It's happened with different vehicles over the years, is my understanding, but for any number of factors, that is General Motors' decision for this year. So in light of that news, we have been working with Enterprise to order what inventory is currently available of Chevy Tahoes. That was budgeted in FY26. They've been able to identify 5 Tahoes. And this is as recently as this afternoon, which is why I didn't have a more formal item for you. But basically, they've located 4 Chevy Tahoes in Texas that are suitable for the Emergency Services Division Department, and 1 in Arizona, I believe, that is meets the qualification for the Sheriff's Department. So that covers 5 of the 6 orders for this year. We have a limited window to secure these as ours before someone else buys them. And I received quotes a few hours ago for them. These combine, the 5 vehicles end up being $9.24 a year over our budget for the vehicles. So the police vehicle is actually almost $1,200 a year under, and the emergency services vehicles are about a little less than $300 each over. So the net is less than $10 a year more over budget for them. But we anticipate, we don't know if we'll be one of the selected customers that can place orders on Tahoes this year. We won't know that for a few months. And if we are not, we expect the price to increase. In my opinion, this represents a very good value to the county in ordering these vehicles now. Having just received the quotes a few hours ago, we didn't have time to get them in front of you today. With that said, I'd request a motion to delegate signature authority of these leases to the county administrator so that we could make the purchase now and ensure we get these vehicles at a good cost in FY26. I can answer any further questions about the specifics of the vehicles, but the aftermarket is included in everything I mentioned. It's been reviewed by OES and the Sheriff's Office, and this order right now would make up about 1/3 of the total FY26 vehicle orders.
Any questions?
Questions, John Howard?
You got a way to cover up at $50 a year?
No, $9.24 a year.
$9.24, so you got a way.
Over 5 years, it would be $50 more.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yes,
You got a way to get that out
We've
of,
agreed to split the cost.
good enough.
We have 10 more to order. They never hit the bullseye exactly, so I anticipate we'll make that up with the other vehicles, yes.
No other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we delegate the county administrator to sign orders, I guess, for these 5 emergency vehicles, once everything's confirmed.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Very good.
Thank you.
You have that.
I have one more item, and this was a request from Patty Shreves of Maryland Rural Water Association for a letter of support because they applied for a grant from the Rural Maryland Council for, to help offset the cost of apprentice training. So we are very much in favor of this initiative. The request for a support letter was required to be turned around very quickly, so the commissioners did sign this support letter and is available for viewing. It was signed on July 8th, 2025. That's it.
Well, before we go to public comment, there was an issue that was discussed today with Dr. McComas is here and Trish McGee from the Board of Ed. We discussed the idea of putting a roof. I think it was we all agreed that the one thing, although we didn't accomplish a whole lot other, but the one thing we did come very clear was that building at the old Wharton Elementary School is probably the first, I don't know whether it's the first or second newest building that we have that was built in Kent County. And regardless of what we decide to use it for, which could be multiple things, it needs a new roof. And the longer we let it sit there without a roof on it, the worse things will get. And it's in relatively good shape, in my opinion. I'm not an expert in it, but when we walk through there, it's certainly worth saving, I think is what we're saying. So I think we wanted to talk about having that roof replaced, and it's certainly our responsibility if we move forward, and so I guess I'm throwing this out for my colleagues to discuss, and
We're going to we'll get it bid correct?
well, Dr. Combs, when you do the bid work, do you all bid that out? Do you know?
In my experience in other places, I've bid that out in other school systems, so we would go through whatever the proper procedure is.
Well, it was brought to my attention today, too, that we're calling this building a school. And that when roofs are put on schools, they typically tack on a premium because of the time frame that the
It has to be
school,
done in the summer,
in the summer.
right?
I don't think this is a school now.
Agreed, because we don't routinely hold instruction. We use it for our makerspace, and we have some of our students on our independent learning program that come in certain days a week, but it's not routinely used, so I would agree, it's primarily office.
I mean, that just might help save, a little bit of money.
Right.
And really, once you get the roof on it, you could use it for whatever you wanted to use it
Right.
for. But I think the argument that Commissioner Nickerson is making is that because generally school roofs have to be done in the summertime, squeezed into that time period, because that's when the kids are not there and you got that short period, that it does come at a premium. But where we're not held to that, that it might be cheaper for us. So I don't know who bids it out.
Right, generally speaking, when the school system has had a project, they bid it out and they manage it. We have been involved a little bit at this point. Our Public Works Director, who is still here, has had a contractor go in and do a cursory overview to kind of determine what the building critically needs, and also what could make it turn into office space. So we have a little bit of knowledge here on the subject, but generally speaking, the schools do that. The county pays for it, but the schools do it. This is a little different because it's not a school, and we're not getting any funding from the state on this. I mean, we keep talking about 50-50, this one's 100-0. But that's generally the way it has happened in the past.
No grants out there, no,
I mean, none that I'm aware of.
and I realize grants are taxpayer money, but it doesn't come from Kent County
Right.
Well, is this,
checkbook.
Shelley just brought up an interesting question for me. If it's under the authority of the school system, would we still get 50% of that paid by the state? There are kids that go in there and receive instructions. The busing system is run out of there. I'm wondering if it is eligible for 50% funding.
I sincerely do not know, so I will do the research on my end.
That would be for me, that would be the first question to ask. That would be a pretty important question. But needless to say, I think the three of us think that it's an important project, regardless of what it's going to be used for, if anything, whatever. But as long as you haven't turned that building over to the county, so as far as I'm concerned, it's a school building. Now, it doesn't have to be built, it doesn't have to be fixed in the summer where it costs a premium, but I would check into that because 50% from the state would go a long ways on that building. Because estimates that I heard were like a $2 million project. So if the state would pick up that half of that, that would be just fine with me.
Fine by me as well.
And you can check on that for us?
I will do my research on my end, since we're at this moment to pursue what kind of funds we can find for them. But I appreciate, we all agree, we need to fix that roof so that,
But I wouldn't be in any hurry to not call it a school yet.
hey, I want to grow schools, so I'm about that too. I will research if it would qualify or not, given how we do use it, so.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Because it was always my understanding that until the school system turned a building over to the county, that it was yours. I mean, and that this has never been turned over to us. You still use it, it's still in your system, but, so I think there's a good argument there, but that's just me.
I will do my homework.
All right,
Thank you.
so,
I have one other thing.
okay,
It's been brought to my attention that there's going to be a meeting held at Sandy Point State Park on the 18th at 10:30 in the morning, where there's going to be some conversation about Sunday waterfowl hunting in Maryland. And also, it's my understanding that maybe DNR is going to provide oversight on the limits and season dates, which I think they have some input on that now currently anyhow. But for some reason, they think that we need, Sunday waterfowl hunting. I've talked to a lot of people. There's a lot of opposition to it. I personally am opposed to it. I don't think that the waterfowl population, both geese and ducks, need to have that kind of pressure on them. So I would like to maybe suggest or make a motion that we prepare a correspondence that I will hand carry to the meeting, opposing this legislation that's going to be put forth in Annapolis.
I agree.
I do as well, I agree.
So I made the motion, I guess in a second. If you
All in
can,
favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the ayes have it.
I'll pick it up whenever you call me to come get it. I will need it before Thursday morning.
Okay.
Thank you.
It'll be fashioned very similarly as the legislation opposition letters that were compiled in the past. This one is just a little different because DNR is hosting.
Ramrodding? I'm sorry.
Ramrodding's a good word.
That is a good word.
All right, if that's all, then, and Dr. McComas, you'll let us know what you find out, and then we'll leave it up to you to bid this, or to put the bid together, and then we'll, when we see the price of it, that's when we'll move forward with making a motion to approve it.
Okay, thank you, and I'll work with Ms. Huller as always to kind of keep you in the loop on what I find out,
Very good.
okay?
Thank you very, very much. At this time, it's come down to the public comment. We don't have much public except John and Mike. Mike?
Guess who's gonna talk?
He's quiet.
Well, the next thing for information purposes is you got a response from Mr. Webb of the State of Maryland Health Department in Kent County. And I'm just curious if you could disclose what that letter said?
If what?
What the letter said? What did Webb reply? What did he say?
Are we
Can
allowed
you
to talk
disclose
about
that?
It's
a
on
public-
the agenda,
It's
it's
a
an
public,
FYI.
yeah, it's a public document.
Public
There's nothing confidential about it.
How about if we give you a copy of it?
Yeah.
How about if we give you a copy of the letter,
Yeah, that'd be
or
great.
if somebody wants to summarize it?
Anything enlightening?
No,
Nothing?
not to me.
No.
I think it was, there's a million questions that I have about what's took place in the county with the health department, and the majority of it's never been answered, and I'm not sure, well, I do know some of our delegates are having some meetings and they're talking about it a little bit, but certainly none of the problems have been solved to my satisfaction, for sure.
If the letter doesn't say anything, I don't need a copy. I just thought maybe he was going to answer some of your questions. Nothing.
Basically,
It's
they
in the
just,
packet online.
Yeah.
You can access it in the packet online.
Oh,
basically, he says he can't talk about anything because pending litigation, afraid of litigation, or thinking of litigation, right, I mean, it's.
If it is a pending case, they can't
Right.
disclose.
That sounds really good, really good, but the people of Kent County deserve better than that.
yeah.
The amount of people that are affected by these half-done decisions are costing people of Kent County money every day, and it's really unfair. And I've never seen anything work so bad in my time, but, so no, it didn't answer a thing for me.
All
No.
right. Thank you.
Now I'll make a motion if nobody else. John, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, no one else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. All in favor, say aye.